Victory for Newcastle United. They climb up the league table. They bounce back from what was a disastrous start to this Premier League campaign for them. They get a rare win over Arsenal as well, and their fans will be delighted. Their supporters will be over the moon, but it's another game marred with controversy again. And I want to stay at the top of the video. We'll get onto the game. We'll get onto the systems, who played well. That is all to come on the Full Fan highlight show. So stay with us. Please make sure like buttons are here. Make sure you are subscribing to the Football Terrace as well. All that to come, plus the panel later. But it's another game that is shrouded in VAR controversy. And we cannot get away from that. And I want to start off by stating that this is not on Newcastle. Newcastle didn't cheat. Newcastle didn't pay the referees. They're not to blame for any of this. So get Newcastle out your mouths. It's not on. Go for PG, MLO, the VAR referees. Because we saw controversy tonight on an epic scale. We saw controversy, a lack of consistency, mind-boggling decisions. A game that ended with 22 men on the pitch, but there could have been 2 or 3 red cards in this game. The goal in itself, huge controversy indeed in relation to the ball going out of play, a push in the back of Gabriel. And I'm taking nothing away from Newcastle. And I know what always happens when you do these videos. The fan of the team that benefit is, oh, you're just trying to take something away from us. I'm not. You got the win. Well done. Congratulations. We're going to move on to how good a team you are later in this content. But first and foremost, I want to start with a controversial moment in the first half, which I cannot believe went unpunished. When Bruno Guimaraes, when you watch it in real time, sometimes I say when you slow things down, things look awful. In real time, you see the way he raises his arm for no reason as he goes past Jorginho and smashes him in the back of the head out of frustration and anger. This is clear, unadulterated, violent conduct, which should have led to a straight red card. Now, you could argue that Kai Havertz's challenge was a red card, and I understand some people do. I think a yellow card was just right. If the front leg of Kai Havertz hits the player, then I would have said a red card, but it was a trailing leg. It was reckless, but not deemed dangerous by the letter of the law. They got that one right. But there, I cannot believe that Bruno has not been sent off. What a player, but he lost his head. Later on in that half, and not even booked, by the way, later on in that half, he boots the ball at an Arsenal player and isn't booked for that either. He then gets booked later on in the game for another raised hand into Jorginho's face, but by then, the game looks out of reach for Arsenal. Should have been off that football pitch twice in this game. So Arsenal fans should feel aggrieved because, in my personal opinion, that's assault. And Newcastle, they caught some life there, 110%. Now, the next bit of controversy surrounds the goal, and I'm still confused. I'm genuinely, bona fidely confused as to how this goal stood. Not because, I'll get into why as we go through it, because it's the wording they use. Remember, when the commentators give you an update, it's because VAR directly speaks to them. So this isn't something Gary Neville has said. It's what he's been told by VAR. So first of all, I don't know why that dropped off there. First of all, it clearly appears to me that this ball went out of play. Now, what they said, VAR, is that there was no conclusive evidence that it went out. Now, I can accept, as a football fan, if you say there's no conclusive evidence that the ball went out. However, how on God's green earth do you disallow Man United's goal against Brighton 5 or 6 weeks ago for an identical situation where the ball is pretty much in and around the same position? It's on that borderline of in or out. So they said that Man United was conclusive, but Newcastle's was not. That, for me, is where the controversy is. Either they got the Man United one wrong and we were robbed. We've had no apology. It's never been debated on any airways anywhere. Or they've robbed Arsenal. One of those situations is going on here. You, the viewers, can give me your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions on this. But 110%, for me, if you give Man United out of play, you've got to give this. Because it's not subjective. The ball is about the same position as Rashford was. Everyone remembers that moment. It would have been an equalizer in a game that we ended up getting beat. Got another goal, though. Who knows? Goals change games. And in the same goal, and we move on from that, I'll get your opinions in a minute. In the same goal, you can clearly see Joel Linton push Gabriel in the back. For me, it's as clear as a nose upon the end of my face. He pushes him in the back. Yes, Gabriel exaggerates it a little bit, but that's what people do, right? Last week, everybody said, look, it was only a little bit of a tug Højlund had on Rodri, but Rodri went down, therefore it must be a foul because it's minimal contact, yes, but it is still a foul technically. It doesn't matter that Rodri went down easy, it's still a foul, Terry, everybody said. So again, consistency is what we're looking for. So there's a little nudge in the back. That's not within the rules. It doesn't matter that Gabriel kind of throws his head back a little bit and arches his back. It's a foul. And this is how you know it's ridiculous. No one would ever do this, but they should to prove a point. Arsenal should have spent the rest of the game just lightly pushing Newcastle players in the back because they've set a precedent here, VAR, that little pushes in the backs are not fouls. But we know they are. You never get away with it. If a player jumps up for a ball and you give him a little nudge, they always blow the whistle. Always. Why not on this goal? Why did Man United concede a penalty last week for minimal contact, but it was a technical foul, and this didn't? And this went the other way. The foul wasn't given. It beggars belief. It genuinely, bona fidely beggars belief. And I know there'll be people out there. I know Newcastle fans will be offended by what I'm saying. I'm not having a go at your club. I'm talking about VAR. And I've said it every week where there's controversy. Yes, you won, celebrate it, but you can still call out the fact that goal was as dodgy as a £9 note. Because if, as fans, we don't call this out, you allow your hatred of Arsenal, I'm not saying Newcastle fans specifically, your hatred of Arsenal or your enjoyment of watching them lose cloud your minds, you might be an Arteta out guy. And by the way, we are going to get onto the team later and talk about all of that because there were things wrong. You shouldn't not talk about the decisions. You can't just go, I don't care about them this week. I'm more angry at Eddie Nketiah. That's silly. You're letting football down, in my opinion. But these decisions are absolutely horrendous, and they are happening each and every single week. And people can call me a closet gooner, and I've done this for every team. I backed Liverpool on this recently. I backed Spurs on this recently. Of course, I spoke out about Man United. I'm going to be doing something on Wolves. Wolves robbed for the same thing 2 weeks running. An opponent kicked the ground and fell over. No contact from their player, and penalties were given. It's happened twice in a week. A player's kicked the ground. It's, for me, as I'm not a Newcastle fan and I'm not an Arsenal fan, calling out these decisions is far more important to me. Genuinely it is, because they have become an absolute joke. And as I stated earlier, especially with the ball going out of play, this was deemed conclusive that the ball went out. VAR has said that this is not conclusive, so they couldn't give it. It does not make sense. The inconsistencies are an abomination to this sport that we love so much. It really is. I want to get your thoughts and I want to get your feelings. Please smash like and share buttons and leave us your comments below. I'm going to go some super chats, and I'm bringing my panel out, people to have their say. First one here says, refs have to be held accountable. They've been terrible this year. No red on the punch to Jorginho early, and then 0 for 3 VAR checks is ridiculous. What I will also say as well, I will say this for balance, Kai Havertz, that slide tackle second half where he went through, I think it was Callum Wilson, he could have got a second yellow for that as well. So that's one I want to make sure I don't miss out on, because I don't want to be biased towards Arsenal. But on balance of decisions, Arsenal got a home cooking today. I never blame refs, but Rob today. Bruno Guimaraes, has to be sent off in the first half, and Joel Linton rides Gabriel like a horse. Apparently, that's legal. Yeah, look, and if Bruno Guimaraes gets sent off, it's a completely different game, in my opinion. We were robbed, but Raya is a fraud. Get him out. And we're going to move on to talk about the play and players when we bring the panel out a little bit later, so stay with us. And yeah, I think there's definitely some Arsenal players that need to be looked at today. I thought Martinelli and Saka, very quiet games. Eddie Nketiah proving he should be the third choice striker. He is not the guy to lead your line against very good teams. And that's what Newcastle are, is a very, very good team. Terry, I am so sick of these officiating miscarriages. Arsenal should pre-fill VAR apology acceptance letters before each game. Terry, you're a liar. Never hit Jorginho in the face. If I said face and my tongue slipped, I meant head. But whether it's the back of the head or whether it's the face is irrelevant. You raise your arms and you strike someone's head, any part of it, front or back, it's a red card. So if I slipped and said face, I apologize. I don't remember saying that, but the point still stands. Arsenal didn't deserve it. Congrats, Mama Flossie. Yeah, look, I thought it was a draw of a game. I actually thought it was a really good game of football. Not from a flair point of view. It reminded me of the Man City game where both teams just defended so well at times. It was really intriguing to watch. But the difference between this, well, the Man City game also had its controversies in as well. But the refereeing decisions today were just crazy. And by the way, if they went the other way, if that goal was scored by Arsenal, Newcastle fans would be saying exactly the same thing. If Declan Rice had hit someone in the back of the head, they'd be saying the same thing. And that's why we need to keep the same energy. I don't know what that's meant to say. The first thing... Okay, I think you mean Guimaraes is the first thing Ty will mention is the ref. Ball didn't go out. Wasn't a foul or offside. Arsenal were awful. Newcastle deserved the win, is what JB says here. Listen, and I'm all for people saying it isn't a foul and the ball didn't go out. But remember what you're saying there. First, then we need PGMLO to be called out for Man United's goal being disallowed. What's the difference? Standards. Secondly, if little pushes in the back are okay, if I was a manager today, I'd do a press conference and show it and say, so if we're allowed to push in the back like that, I've now instructed my players to do that every time we cross the ball into a box. I'd almost set a precedent to make them nervous. That's why I think it's got to be a foul. Because if your team's defending and the ball's coming up and your defender jumps up and an attacker nudges him in the back or gives him a little push, we all shout foul. So I have to disagree with that one, my friend. What you always have to do when it comes to an isolated incident, when you want to, I do this in life in general, go, right, this is what I'd like to do. You need to expand on that and place it into multiple situations. Then you know whether your idea is a good or a bad one. Well done, Newcastle. A defensive masterclass. It certainly was. No matter what VAR mistakes happened, but again, the respect they deserve will be overshadowed by VAR. I think it's a really, really, really good super chat there from you, Jerome. And Newcastle are a very, very good team. They're a dangerous team. They are a potent outfit. They're going to have a tremendous season. And they're on their way to the very top. And I've been saying that for the 2 years. As soon as they got these new owners, I knew what was going to happen. They probably got to this stage a little quicker than I thought they would. But a well-run club that invests money, that improves its culture, will always perform well. It's just simple. Do you know if you opened a restaurant and you employed a world-class restaurant manager, a world-class chef, and you designed the place and made it look nice, you got a professional in to do that, and you make great food, you make money. You'll make money. It's not hard. Genuinely. It is hard work. I'm not saying it isn't hard work, but you do that and you'll be great. You'll be fine. So when you have idiots running your club, that it all falls apart. Genuinely feel sick. Can't fault the lads today. Blatant corruption at this point. Oliver on VAR. Same guy who didn't send off Kovacic. Oil club tax. Now, I will say this. It's not on Newcastle. Nothing to do with oil money. Ball might have been out, but it was a handball. It was a handball foul offside goal. Well done, Saudi, for buying the PGMOL. Bruno Guimaraes should have seen red, is what Martin says here. Absolutely disgusting from the officials and VAR. I don't know if I can watch the Premier League anymore. What a disgrace. What's happening to our game, bro? Mate, I agree with you. I think that they were a disgrace today. You're absolutely spot on. For F's sake, it wasn't a push. Why are you always simping for Arsenal? Again, you're a Chelsea fan. If that's your opinion, bro, I'm going to respect it. But if I ever see a Chelsea defender pushed, I never want to see you complain about it. And this is what I know will happen. If Monday night against Spurs. Ball's crossed in. It's going to Richarlison's head, and he pushes one of your defenders in the back like this to get there. You are going to scream foul. Do you know how I know that? Because we'd all do it. We'd all do it. Arsenal are going up against refs and will not win, is what Pete Kenny says. Thank you, Pete. I love Arsenal and how far we've come, but I'm falling out of love with this game because of the disgusting officiating. Disgrace. Ibby here says, out of play. I don't mind as no overhead cam. I don't get why it's not a foul or offside. Goalkeeper is ahead of the ball, right? So you need two defenders. But that's also it. They said there's no conclusive evidence when the ball touched Gabriel. But this is why the system in the Champions League is better. Because what you should do, I've seen how the Champions League do it. Say you haven't got an offside angle to draw the lines where you can see where the ball's hit. You use a different camera angle. But what you do is you play the videos at the same time. There's an angle that showed when the ball hits Joe Linton. And what you do is you freeze it. And then wherever you freeze that frame on the sort of bird's eye type view that gives you the offside, that's where the ball contact happened. And then you do your lines. It's really, like, I don't work there, but it feels a very simple way to do it. But yeah, very weird. Arsenal weren't robbed. Terry, enough is enough. If you think the VAR got it all right today, brother, you're entitled to that opinion. I just disagree with you. Apart from the VAR decisions, it is fair to say Newcastle was the better team, Terry. Lee is fuming at Arteta. Can't wait for the next week's show. Look, I think Arteta made some mistakes today. Trossard should be starting this game. Kai Havertz, completely anonymous, barring the tackle that nearly got him sent off, the foul that nearly got him sent off. So there's lots of things to look at Arteta for. The panel's going to come out and discuss that. I hear you. This here says Havertz did great today, aside from a yellow card incident. Probably the top 4 players out there for us, just missing goals. I don't hate him anymore. I don't know if the other Arsenal fans on the panel will agree with that. When Arsenal lose, Arteta got it wrong. When Man United lose, blame the Glazers, Ten Hag, and the players are not responsible. But that isn't true, is it? I blame Ten Hag on lots and lots and lots of occasions. So you're wrong there. But thank you for the super chat, my G. I can't believe it was given as a goal. Shameless VAR. VAR isn't enough for me to blame the L, but it's a big factor because there was multiple instances to rule the goal out, but send Eddie to the shadow realm. This here says Saka and Odegaard, Nketiah and Zinchenko are frauds, is what has been said here. Invincibles 2.0, laughing my ass off. I don't think any Arsenal fan said that. Agree with you, Terry. Refs' calls were criminal. This here from Casey, thank you very much. A great donation, says, how have you given a goal when 2 Newcastle players are behind Raya and 1 Arsenal player is there? That is offside. I mean, it's offside. It's literally, the definition of offside is that. Not been given a red. Bruno, awful challenges and a kick the ball at an Arsenal player. Just how? So I hear you. As an Arsenal fan, I didn't think it was a foul, but it looked like it went out to me. We were still terrible. Fair play for your honesty there, my friend. Kai Havertz red card challenge equals 3 Newcastle yellows. Joke. Well, yeah, again, this is where I would praise the officiating, though. They said at the start of the season, if anybody challenges us to give people cards, we'll book them. And they were all asking for a red card. So it's one of those things for me where I get what you're saying, but they shouldn't have done that. But there we go. How that ball wasn't out, I will never understand, is what Kenny says here. Look at these hypocrites in the chat. If this happened to their clubs, they would be crying like... Listen, I said it earlier on today on the Man United show. When Man United and Arsenal get screwed by referees, football laughs. When it's anybody else, they get on Good Morning Britain. Do you know what I'm saying? They get Suzanne Reid backing them up. Prime ministers tweet about it. Do you know what I'm saying? But when it happens to certain clubs, it is seen as fun. Boo-hoo, Saka, thank you. That Newcastle right-back was immense. Yeah, Livramento was class today. He was so was Trippier, going to left-back as well. By the way, we always talk about, like, the greatest fullbacks in Premier League history, and I get why Walker and Cole and Ever are mentioned. I always pick Dennis Irwin because he spent the best part of his career playing left-back and was amazing, but he was right-footed and a right-back. To be able to do both positions proficiently... Because genuinely, I'm not saying he's better per se than Ashley Cole. But do you think if Ashley Cole spent 10 years playing as a right back, he would have been as good? I don't know. I'd love to get your opinion. We can't blame VAR. We know that people behind it are incompetent. We missed Odegaard and created 0. Arteta again with the late subs. Look, that element you still need to criticize 110%. 110%. Premier League is losing credibility. PGMOL and VAR shambolic. Thank you, AJ. Grabbing somebody's throat is a red card, Rodri, but hitting on the head isn't a red. By the way, if Granit Xhaka, Casemiro, anyone like that did what Bruno Guimaraes did, or what Kai Havertz did, gone off the pitch. See you later. 100%. 100%. Well done, you tunes. Commissioner Gordon doing the madness. Also, Doku demolished Bournemouth. Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't live after the City game. I had to go to the pharmacy and pick up some medication. I'm all good, but I need it. And I had to go down there and get it, and it took ages, so I went back in time. So, sorry. That young player, Livramento, had Martinelli in his pocket and completely nullified him. Yeah, it was class. Class. This week is us. Next week will be you. The week after will be them, and so on. Buckle up, people. It will be a long season. Congrats to Newcastle. Thank you, George. And this says no yellows given for all the Arsenal players berating the ref after the goal. Stay consistent. It's not about, again, you're not listening to what's being said. There is no direct yellow card for asking the referee questions. What you cannot do is ask for yellow cards or red cards to be given. That is the bookable offense. So let's get it right if we're going to ask for consistency, please, people. Right, panel time now, ladies and gentlemen. Get that like button smash. We've got Egal coming on. We've got Jay. We've got Strasbourg, Steve. We've got Sard, Souls, Brandon, Jason as well. Make sure like buttons are hit. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace, because I want to hear from you all. I want to get your views, and I want to get your opinions on what's gone on today. Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's good to have you all here. I want to go to Egal first, because obviously your unbeaten run comes to an end. It wasn't the greatest of performances, but do you feel aggrieved after those big refereeing mistakes today?
Okay, absolutely, Terry. I feel we got robbed straight up. That goal shouldn't have stood. The situation, you can look up to lead up to it. You could talk about everything else, but that goal shouldn't have stood. That game should have ended 0-0 at best. The referee had a foul on Gabriel Magalhaes from what do you call it, Joe Linton. That should have been one. Number two, the ball is out of play. The ball is out of play. Like, even if that's not even it, then there's a possible offside with Anthony Gordon. That's three situations. Then earlier in the game, you have a situation where Bruno Guimaraes' forearms hits his forearm on Jorginho's head, and they say, oh, because it's his forearm and it's not his elbow, it's not violent conduct. Since when is a forearm to somebody's head not violent conduct? Honestly, I could talk about the refereeing performance all day and every day, because I feel like we absolutely got robbed, and that was disgusting from that referee. But this is what we expect in the Premier League. If you're not good enough on the day and you don't score 2 goals and you don't take your chances, there's always a possibility where a referee will screw you and you'll be aggrieved. In the actual reality, I'm pissed off in the referee performance, but I'm equally pissed off at the team's performance. I thought the team didn't do well overall in the final third. I thought we had opportunities to capitalize on our chances. We didn't take our chances. We always are looking for the extra pass or take the extra touch. But Bukayo Saka, when you have the ball and it lands to your feet right on the edge of the box, you used to just strike it first time near post above the keeper. Do that next time. But overall, Terry, I'm aggrieved by the refereeing decisions. I feel like this is an absolute robbery. This game should have been a 0-0, and at best, we should have probably got a draw. This was an even game. But you know what? Newcastle take the points, and sometimes these things happen, and we just have to suck it up. But I wouldn't be surprised if the PGOL came out with another refereeing apology for something here. And I don't want anyone to tell me, yo, cry about it, because guess what? Every single one of you guys, every single one of you rival fans would be sitting here and saying the exact same thing if it happened to your team. But hey, it happened to Arsenal. It is what it is.
I get you on that, Jay. And I know that the greatest amount of time tonight. We'll come back to Egal with some more questions later. What was your thoughts on the performance? Do you also feel, though, that the referees screwed you today?
Just like I said last game, I saw the lineup. I said we've lost. The only thing, let me just start with one positive, which is the only positive, which is hardly a positive because it's minimum expectation. But in the first half, we were fighting. We were fighting a bit. The boys put out some fight. Now, the truth, this Havertz and Eddie stuff, it's not good enough. It pisses me off every time I see them playing. We don't create nothing. We get to the final third and they're looking around. There's no link up. There's nothing going on. There's nothing going on. And it happened throughout the game. I was calling for Trossard to come on. Even Fabio V, that's not great. I was calling for subs and changes. And when does it happen? When we're losing. I kept saying, be proactive. It's 0-0. Be proactive, but we're being reactive. Why are we being reactive for? Then towards the end of the game, they're throwing all the men forward. They're trying, but it's too late. It's too late. It's too late. This delusion about Eddie, he's not good enough. He's just not good enough. I don't know what guys want us to do. He's not good enough. How many times we have to have up and down feelings or be uncertain about Eddie Nketiah? If you're uncertain about an Arsenal player, the truth is he's not good enough. Can't keep getting upset about the inevitable. It's facts. He's not good enough. And Havertz and Eddie on the pitch, you're sitting there and you're watching it and
Bro, Havertz was actually good today. I don't know what you think.
What did you say? Havertz was good today.
Yeah, Havertz was good today.
What was good about him today?
I thought he had a good
because it's better than he has.
I thought he had a good performance in the first half. I thought he had a good performance in the first half. Obviously, he drove the ball, created some chances. We just didn't capitalize on it.
What did he create? Now you got Don here smiling all about. What did he create?
Nah, bro. Go back to the first half. You do not see Kai Havertz.
What chance did we have in the first half? What chance did we have?
Obviously, Eddie Nketiah didn't do anything with it, but he was driving from the midfield from deep, winning the ball, taking the ball, going all the way. He was doing his job.
So he was just being a footballer, basically.
That's the minimal expectation, Egal. He's still a £1 million player.
Guess what?
Oh, he drove the ball. Who gives a shit?
I don't care what anybody tells me. Talk shit about all the other players, but I feel like Kai Havertz leave this game with his head held high, even though we lost.
What, because you got 3 Newcastle players booked?
You disagree with that, Brandon?
Because he got 3 Newcastle players booked. Because he actually was one of the people in the midfield who was holding it down for us.
The midfield, if we keep deluding ourselves, we're going to keep being upset throughout the season.
I understand. Let me just jump in a sec, boys. Brandon, what do you make of Egal's opinion that Kai Havertz had a good game today?
Absolute rubbish, Tel. I'm sorry, Egal, but that is the bare minimum. Oh, he picked up the ball when he started driving with it. Who fucking cares, man? He's £65 million player. You expect a lot better. And the reality is, okay, he probably wasn't one of our worst performers today, but he still did nothing. He did nothing. The whole team did nothing. Yeah, we was crap. And yet, I'm not going to sit here and say we got what we deserved, because at the end of the day, Tel, it's another game where we're all going to be sitting here, and the talking point is incompetent referees and VAR decisions yet again. You know, in the biggest league in the world with the most eyes on it, and we can't even get the decisions correct. Right?
Facts.
It's fucking unbelievable.
What can we do when all that's
I've had enough of it, right? The fact of the matter is that goal shouldn't have stood. 3 different things there that they could have ruled that game off, that goal off for, and it should have been ruled off. The Bruno Guimaraes one, right, should have been a red card, but then at the same time, you could say Kai Havertz should have been sent off as well, because okay, his tackling the first half is maybe, you know, not quite a red card, but then when he makes that stupid challenge in the second half and he doesn't get a second bookable, that's not a second bookable offence. For me, that's a bookable offence again. So again, once again, we have to kind of look at it in that aspect. Okay, Bruno Guimaraes should have been sent off, but maybe Kai Havertz should have been as well. But then, you know, again, like I say, we're talking about incompetent referees, incompetent VAR decisions. We're not even got the best technology in the best and most biggest league in world football. That's how ridiculous this is. But then at the same time, right, we did nothing to deserve winning that game anyway. Yeah, we did nothing. We defended really well. Newcastle defended really well. I see 2 teams out there that basically cancelled each other out, because both teams going forward are absolutely shocking, created absolutely nothing. We had 1 shot on target all game again today. 1 shot on target. Right? I don't know what's happened to our attack since last season, but we have died since last season in terms of going forward. Saka don't look the same. Martinelli don't look the same. Nketiah, he scores a hat-trick against Sheffield United, goes missing for another 3 or 4 games afterwards. That's Eddie Nketiah for you. You know, the manager, again, my man said it perfectly. Yeah? Be proactive with your substitutions. Instead, we're being reactionary again. Instead, I'm looking at the clock and I'm going, oh, yeah, it's that 70-minute mark again. Oh, Arteta's decided to bring on a sub again. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing every single game. Every single game, whether we're winning, losing, doesn't make no difference. Arteta waits till the 70th minute, like he's prime Arsene Wenger, before he makes a change. What do you expect? This is what's going to happen when you come up against decent teams like Newcastle. This is what's going to happen, and this is why I was so annoyed when we went out the Carabao Cup, because that was a trophy where we could actually go and win that. You know, this league's going to be difficult to win, especially playing in the way that we're playing right now. The Champions League's going to be difficult to win, and we need major surgery in January because it's simply not good enough. Every time we go to the midfield, sideways, backwards, bullshit. Yeah, we can't get our attacking players in the game. They look disinterested. It's pathetic, really. You know, if we didn't have such a solid defense, then...
Mate, I hear you. Definitely in the attack. I want to ask, we're going to come back. Everyone's going to get a chance to speak. We're going to go through some super chats in a minute. But Souls, Gary Neville was talking about it during the game, the lack of firepower. I watched Eddie Nketiah today, who up against a good team with a good defense, just looked... He looked limp. He looked flaccid. He looked like it wasn't his level. Is that an area that come January you've got to go big and get a proper number 9, especially for when Jesus is out?
I mean, people were asking for apologies. What was it last week because he scored a goddamn hat trick? I've been telling you, man, this guy is shit. I'm gonna call it out for what it is. I'm not even gonna hold back my words. The guy is awful. I don't even think he should be playing for a top 10 or even a mid to 10 to 20th place Premier League team. Scores 1 hat trick. I told you that's his goal credit for the next 10 games done. He's not going to score for the next 10 games. He's not going to score for the next probably 20 games until Jesus is back, unless we get another bum team that we need to play. But at the end of the day, right, it's what we get called, labelled is we're negative. We don't want to back the process. We're not Arsenal fans. We're this, we're that. Now you're out of the Carabao Cup. We're potentially going to be dropping this league again. What are we going to win this season? We have to get a striker. There's no choice in the matter. Get that checkbook open like he has been. The owners are not at fault here. If Arteta, right, goes and says to them, I need a striker, he gets one. He goes and tells them, I want Victor Osimhen, he gets Victor Osimhen. He tells them, go and get me Mbappe, they will try and get him Mbappe. That's how these owners have been moving. But the guy's decided to go and spend £65 million on Kai Havertz. He's decided to go and spend £105 million on Declan Rice. He has decided to spend this money. He's had the luxury to spend. But he's decided that those are more important. Letting Granit Xhaka go this season was more important than getting a goal scorer in. It was better to let Florian Balogun go and not give him an opportunity and keep Eddie Nketiah. He has actively made these decisions. Leandro Trossard, a guy who has been bailing him out since he's come to this club, can't even get 45 minutes on the pitch. How many more times are we going to protect the manager when he is constantly making the same mistakes? We're having the same conversations when we lose. The thing is, no one can sit here and say, because I have backed this process more than a lot of the Arteta owners. I have never doubted him until now. And the reason I do that is because we're having the same conversations. You can go and play back last year, and we're having the same conversation. We need a striker. We need this position. We need this position. But what do? They come undone. We keep talking about these 10 out of 10 transfer windows. Where is it? This is Arteta's squad. This is his 25-man squad. I don't want to hear an excuse. He chose to keep Eddie Nketiah. He has to make it work. And he hasn't. Because every single time these guys, even, you know what, it's not even Eddie Nketiah, but Bukayo Saka, another player getting rewarded for mediocrity. Once he getting dropped, properly getting dropped, making a statement to say, do you know what, you want to drop these stinkers, you're on the bench. When is Martinelli going to have the same treatment? When does Eddie Nketiah, when's enough? When is enough for this manager? The guy is moving like Ten Hag. When Sancho called it, Ten Hag out for having favourites, Arteta, someone needs to call Arteta out. I hope Trossard does it. Because the reality of the matter is this guy has his favourite players he wants to protect and he's giving all the minutes to them. Regardless of form, the guy doesn't play players on merit. He plays them because he likes them. And that's what's costing us right now. Trossard should have come on way earlier. Carabao Cup, same mistake. We were 1-0 down. That's the time you make a change. That's when you stamp your authority. Your attackers aren't attacking, you get them off the pitch. So you can sit here, we can blame Eddie Nketiah about who's picking him. That's where the root cause of this issue is. And a lot of people can say it's reactionary, but I've been saying it all season. And not one person has been able to debunk what I've been saying about this manager this season. Oh, we've been unbeaten. What about now? What's your excuses now? What are you going to rebunk it with now?
Souls, I hear where you're coming from. I want to go to Egal on this. Do you agree with what Souls is saying here in terms of starting to doubt Arteta? He's getting favourites. He's not seeing obvious mistakes and problems. The likes of Saka are not being dropped. Like, what is as a fellow Gooner, what is your opinion on what Souls has just said?
My issue is chance creation. That's the biggest issue for me. Why is it we're not creating enough chances throughout this game, and why is it that our attackers are not clicking? That's the main thing for me. We speak about the midfield, we speak about the players missing, but the real biggest issue we've had this season, it was kind of masked by the last game versus Sheffield United because we scored how many goals we did. But the lack of chance creation, I think we only had one shot on target in the whole 90 minutes, and we didn't really test Newcastle's goal. So we can talk about substitutions, we can talk about everything else, but the real issue comes down to our attack has not been clicking all season, and that's where Mikel Arteta is faltering the most, I would say.
But the thing is, though,
if you want to talk about the substitution, he should have subbed off Eddie. Eddie was injured, guys. He couldn't even walk at certain points of the game because he had like a dead leg or something. He should have been taken off. So another substitution issue there. But overall, I'm still not gonna overreact. I'm still not gonna go crazy. I just think this guy needs to fix up with his attacking third, and we're not gonna be able to get anybody in until January. So he has to manage with what he has to his disposal. And an issue he had from last season and the year before is when things don't go to script and players are out, what is his problem solving? Mikel Arteta needs to improve on his problem-solving skills.
Nah, he ain't got no excuse. I don't care.
The manager is struggling with that. That's what
the same players are injured again. So what is his excuse? He knows Thomas Partey's getting injured. He knows Gabriel's going to get injured.
Odegaard being out on the final day, like.
So what? He bought Fabio Vieira to cover that. He bought Kai Havertz to cover that. Didn't he?
Playing that position as well.
We got injuries as well.
Listen, I'm actually agreeing with you on that point.
But the thing is, though, Terry, this is the thing, yeah. Like, hold on now. Yeah, Terry, this is the thing, yeah. Like, look, I've been speaking about Arsenal the whole season, saying how. Can you hear me? Wait, let me come back.
Internet's just bugging out a little. Yeah, come back in a second there. Saad, what are you saying in terms of this situation? I know you've probably got a few things you want to speak about, but just where we are in this conversation right now is Arteta there should be doubt around Arteta. He should be getting challenged. He's built this squad. He's bought the replacements for the players that are out injured, so there should be better performances. Like, where do you stand on that debate, Saad? You're on mute, bro.
Can you hear me?
Yes, brother.
Okay, no, man. My bad. 100% he's bought in those players. 100% they're his players. But at the same time, you can't automatically, as soon as the players don't work, say, "Oh, he's got to go now. He's got to go. We've got to start questioning." I think I will wait until the end of the season. If we go after this season trophyless, then there's a question to be had. Is he the right guy? Can he take us? Actually,
why are we questioning him? Is it not a case of it's in or out now?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. You have to look at it like this. How many players are we missing right now? We're missing Thomas Partey, who utilizes.
I'm not giving you that.
Very important to that.
I'm not going to give you Jesus either.
He's very important to the system. Yes, I fully understand.
He's always injured.
I fully understand, but he's still very important to his system. Also, he's got players in there which he's brought in. Now, I'm not going to sit here and protect this Kai Havertz signing, but I'm with the same thought that I don't think Kai Havertz was the worst player on the pitch. I think he had moments where he was clicking with players. He had moments where he was playing good 1-2s with the players. Obviously, it's not to the level where you're worth 65 million. So I should expect you to at least be creating goals, creating chances, that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to sit there and say he had a great game or anything. But all I'm saying is, when it comes to Arteta, I'm not going to overreact and sit here and say, "Oh, he's got to go because he's making these subs." 100%. There's definitely criticism to be put on Arteta. 100%. I can criticize him, and I can say, you know what, these substitutions, you're making them way too late. He definitely made that mistake in the game today, because Trossard should be coming on straight at half time. 100% Trossard should be coming on at half time. But when when you look at what Arteta's built, when you look at what Arteta's done so far, bro, we can't just unless he's gone after this season and doesn't win anything, then there's viable questions to be asked. But right now, in the middle of a season, bro, if we get rid of Arteta
it's
now,
not that. It's the same questions being asked again and again and again from this manager. He's already thrown one competition away. That's the same thing he did last season. And now we're talking about substitutions, which we've been talking about since the guys entered the club. Can he manage a game? Can he change the game from the so? And the reality is, when the game gets tough and the going gets tough, he hasn't shown it. Today got tough for us, and he wasn't. You know what actually happened? The players played with emotions. Arteta cannot control his players' emotions. They started shooting, they started passing, the game plan went out the window. They just started just hitting and hoping that something happens. And that's the problem I've got. I'm not saying Arteta out right now, but what I'm saying is I just don't understand what it's going to take for Arteta to start actually taking action.
See, this is the thing, yeah. I want to speak about your creativity because, like,
1 second before you say that, I just want to say, Souls, we've had the most comebacks this season. Doesn't he get credit for that?
Yeah, that's true. You can't do it off one game, man.
So based on what you said, how did we come back in all those games? How did we get back into all
that last season? That's not an improvement from last season. But even if you look at what made us need to come back,
nothing we do from the start of this season, unless we replicate what we did last season or go unbeaten completely and win all our games, is going to compare to last season. Last season we were unknown commodity. This season more teams are going to play with more respect, more defensive, and they're going to have more of a game plan for us. It's never going to be the same. This is what happens when you have a good team. People are going to play for close games where they can smash and grab. Where when you have a team like we did previously, people are going to come be disrespectful and leave us with open space. Leave us with the whole gaping chasms. Give us more opportunities to attack them, and we capitalize. So we caught people off guard last year. We cannot compare 2 years to each other. If we do that, then are we going to compare ourselves to Warrior shit?
But Egal, let me speak about the creativity because I've been speaking about this all season. I've come on here week after week. I've been saying that I'm not convinced by your team. There's this narrative within your fan base here that Arsenal are looking a little bit mature. They're going to kick into place, but I haven't been buying it. I have not been buying it. And the main thing that I spoke about, was individually, certain players like Martinelli have not been at the level that they were last year. Certain players like Saka haven't been at the level that they were last year. Odegaard. So I'm looking at your players, right, as well as your manager. You've criticized him already. I want to speak about your players, right? And the other week I came on here, I said Bukayo Saka for me is not world class. And what I spoke about when I said that is the fact that away from the goals and the assists, when I look at his overall performances, he doesn't do enough for me. Terry started reading out stats and all of these things, but I'm sorry, my eyes don't lie to me, bro. Yeah, Saka needs to be doing more, right? Like I've said, now Arsenal fans want to start focusing on him because he's not getting the goals and assists. And I said this a few weeks ago. I said, when the goals dry up and the assists dry up, people are going to start criticizing his performances. You've got to look at him today. He was poor again. Do you know what I mean? Whether that's fitness, whether that's injury, he was poor again today. Martinelli, hold on, bro. Let me land, yeah? Martinelli, he got locked up again today. Odegaard wasn't there, but Kai Havertz, I'm sorry, 65 million. This is not the guy that's going to elevate you. And that's exactly why, right? This is one of Arteta's main signings that he's made, right? You've got Eddie. He's the one that decided to give him a new contract and give him number 14 and pay him over 100K a week. That's Arteta, right? But let's not run away from the fact that your star players are not playing at the level that they were last year. And I've been saying this all season. People keep going on about maturity and that. Let's break down the individual performances. They haven't been great, bruv. They haven't.
Don, just to counter what you said a bit, yeah. In terms of Saka's performance, cool. Today he wasn't great, but from what I see and watching our games week in week out, there's been plenty of times in that Newcastle game where Saka's cutting, where Odegaard normally is, and nobody was there today. Certain things aren't clicking with the front.
So
three.
I know
the team ain't always going to be perfect in terms of your lineup, but there's certain factors this season that's happening that wasn't happening last season. Last season, Eddie Nketiah made 21 appearances, but only 9 were starts. He's made 9 already this season, and you can see why we're not creating. When you said Arsenal to create more, do more, whatever, I think Eddie is a big detriment to our forward attacking. He's
but even when you play Jesus, bro, when you play Jesus at the bridge, when you play Jesus at the bridge,
game. Jesus has started.
You still weren't creating. You still weren't creating much.
At Chelsea, we didn't create much, but that's one game, bro. So we're at the bridge. Chelsea are up for it. But normally, when we play Jesus up front, you see the difference, bro. We're not creating with this guy. There's no link ups. watch the game back, bro. But there's no link ups, there's no passing, not much is going on.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. If you're a world-class player and you're up against Dan Burn, who naturally is a centre-back playing at fullback, you have to have
Bro,
right.
he sent him to the locker room.
Hold on, Egal. Yeah,
He
was
sent him
injured.
to the
bro.
locker room
He
at
got
halftime.
injured. He got injured, bro. He
Yeah.
got injured
Trippier
before.
went to left back, yeah.
Yeah, and then Trippier went at left back and he locked him up as well. So if you can see that inverting's not working and you're closing down the pitch, right? You need to stretch the pitch. Therefore, you need to take on your man. He's not taking on his man enough, right? Whether he's injured or whatever, this is what I criticize with Saka. I love Saka, right? Don't get it twisted. He's a top player. But when people start
Don't say you
saying
love him.
class-
You've been onto him all season. The way you talk
No,
about Arsenal
bro,
players,
I've
don't
been
have the same
bro,
energy for
Bro,
Chelsea.
you wanna know something?
Last season,
still have
hold on
criticism
a second. I do have the same energy for my players.
Don't have
because
the
I've
same
been
energy for
I've been
Chelsea, bro.
criticizing Sterling all season, bro. I've been criticizing Jackson as well in front of goal, bro. I've criticized my players, right? I'm talking about Saka and the level that I hold him up to. He had a very good year, and he's supposed to be kicking on from last year. He's regressed. He's gone backwards. Okay, and he's been given a new contract as well. So let's not run away from it, right? As much as you don't like Eddie and all of these things, Jermaine, you keep ignoring other players, bro. You keep focusing on Eddie Nketiah. I think he's impacting the Rice was good today. Rice was actually good today. He done his job. He was very good today. Do
You
know
want
what
to
I
know
mean? He
something,
was
bro?
top.
I agree with you with the whole Bukayo Saka situation because Bukayo Saka is held to a higher standard, guys. Let's not act like Bukayo Saka is supposed to be one of the better players in this league. So if we're dropping points in and we're losing games and he's on the pitch and he's not making a difference, he deserves criticism. I take that criticism and I understand it. So what I'm gonna sit here and say is Mikel Arteta, he got out coached in the end with the substitutions. I agree there. We did get robbed by the referees, but at the end of the day, we cannot see the same offensive performances going forward. Jesus is going to be injured, doesn't matter. Midfield is poor, midfield's poor, it doesn't matter. We should be creating more than one big chance in all these games. We can't even create one big chance. That is where this game is won and lost. All these other things are excuses.
Why do you think we can't
that
create?
is, though? Do you know why that is? Because
Why?
we don't have enough players that take responsibility. There's two players for Arsenal that take responsibility that I see week in, week out taking responsibility. That's William Saliba and Declan Rice. The rest of them, you know, we could talk about, Odegaard weren't there and Saka was cutting inside and there was nobody there. Take responsibility. Yeah? If you're this so-called world-class player and you're on your way there, you take responsibility at times. Martinelli, take responsibility. If Eddie's not performing, we all know that Eddie's not good enough. But sometimes you need players that are going to take responsibility and just say, do you know what? F this. It's my time now. And we don't have enough of them. You know, everybody relies on the system.
You've got one trust side.
I'm just going to say this, guys.
Yeah, great example.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to jump off after this, Terry. I just have this to say. I still consider us undefeated. That game didn't count. Honestly.
Oh man.
You guys can all sit here and say we lost, but we got robbed.
Egal. What did I tell you yesterday? What did I tell you yesterday when you asked me about prediction? What did I tell you? What did I tell you about prediction?
Yeah, you predicted this. You want a cookie?
I do. Give me one, please.
Next time I see you.
I predicted 1-0.
You want a cookie?
Bro, that was an absolute robbery. Man. Have a good day.
Love you, bro. I love this guy.
1-0.
I love this guy. We're going to speak a little bit more. We are going to talk Newcastle on the show as well. I've got 54 super chats to do right now, so we're going to spend a bit of time. We'll read out the super chat. I'm going to bring Ches in, who back. I was about to put Ches in, who was backstage, but he disappeared. Come back. We'll go through these super chats, and of course, we'll ask the panel. We won't get everyone to give an opinion on every super chat because that'll be a madness. But we'll go to like 1 or 2 people. This is no yellow cards given to all the Arsenal. Oh, sorry, already done that one. Arsenal didn't deserve to win and didn't deserve to lose. So draw. Yeah, I think most Gooners that said have been robbed would probably take a draw as like the result. Terry, the ball was out of play. If anyone thinks this is a genuine goal, they must definitely visit Specsavers. What I'll say about that is that BN Sport have put a graphic up that says that it was slightly in. However, that's their kind of technology. That's what they've said. It's funny though, Richard Keys didn't do that when the ball went out against Brighton. They did nothing to show whether our ball was in or out. And I am being petty about it because it annoys me. Doku put on a masterclass today. Listen, I tweeted about Doku earlier today. Doku is everything at City that I thought Grealish was going to be. You know, holds the ball just as much, but scores and assists more. That's when you talk about wingers. That's my type of winger, Terry. That's my type of winger. I love it. But by the way, when it comes to Saka, I was watching the game and I'm looking at him. He's an England player as well, so I want him to be good. I'm looking at him. Why is he not going at the? I swear he used to run at people and try and take them on. I don't mean it to sound rude. I don't mean it to sound rude. In recent weeks, Bukayo Saka, he's not been as bad, but it's reminded me of the way Anthony plays. It's just onto the left, cut onto the left. And I'm sort of like, go on the outside and cut a ball back.
It don't make sense when you got Dan Burn as well, who's at 6 or 7 and can't run. Run at him, man.
It's not even just Dan Burn. The fact that I've said this before and I'll say it again. Well, Saka this season, for some reason, he just doesn't want to go in behind. He doesn't want to put the ball past somebody and just run. Last season I saw that in abundance. Every time he try and do a little flick past the player, and he knows he's going to win the foot race. He knows it. So I don't know why he's not doing that this season. I don't know whether he's exhausted. This guy is. I don't know what's wrong with him.
Maybe he's got like a little injury or something. Like I don't know, something that's stopping him, because it's just weird that he stopped doing what he was so great at.
Or he might just be in bad form.
It could be that, yeah, exactly. It could be, yeah. How did a shit Kai still outperform Starboy Saka? Scapegoat is what Blaze says. Daniel Sweetman says the Joe Linton foul should have been given 100%. Another goal angle, the ball hit Joe Linton's arm. Did it? Oh, wow. I mean, they checked it for everything else. Why didn't they check it for that as well? Yeah, that goal just, and I'm not taking nothing away from Newcastle. That goal, I know that they shouldn't just be looking for why to get rid of it. But it could have been disallowed for 3 or 4 reasons. Offside, ball out of play, handball. Someone just sent me that. I was just seeing it. Yeah, the handball and the foul. Like, when you've got all of those things, even if, sometimes you do like 4 or 5 fouls that are not yellow cards, but it's like a totting up process. It's almost like, because of all of those things, we'll probably just disallow it. I don't know. It feels like, I think if any one of us concede a goal like that, we're fuming. If Newcastle conceded it, if Chelsea conceded it, Liverpool conceded it, we all go mad for a goal like that. This here says the foul on Thiago Silva when Chelsea played Fulham. A Fulham player hit Thiago Silva in the upper back and head, and it wasn't given as a red card. Exactly. And every Chelsea fan worth his salt said it was a straight red card. So they have to say that Bruno Guimaraes was a straight red card, because it's identical in my personal opinion. So again, that's why it should be called out. Keep it consistent.
Got away with that, yeah.
Steve is my mate. Congratulations, Steve, up the tune. That's from Jim. How you doing, Jimbo? Hope you're well. Hope you're looking after Kate on this horrible, rainy bonfire night. No, tomorrow's bonfire night, isn't it? It's my mum and dad's wedding anniversary. Don't congratulate them. They got divorced 18 years ago, but it's when they got married. You know what I mean? So it's there. Talk about the donkey Havertz, who shouldn't have been on the pitch. I think we've done a lot of Havertz stuff. I'm still confused. I didn't think he had a good game at all. Like, genuinely, I don't know what the Gooners said he was good. He just was,
because he ran around and put in some challenges. That's all he did.
Crazy.
And
he looked more busy than usual. That's what it was. He looked more busy than usual.
Busy.
Yeah. Both teams got done by the ref multiple times. Havertz was 100% a red. Anyone who has played football, Rack, do you think that was a red? The Kai Havertz tackle?
No. His forward leg didn't make any contact whatsoever. His trailing leg did, and it was low down. It looks, if you pause it at one point, it looks like his forward leg is making contact with him, but it actually goes straight past his body. So it's not a red card at all.
Okay, let me ask you this, Rack. Should he have been sent off for a second booking in the second half?
I don't know. What was
that? I personally thought so.
I don't know.
I think he could have done, but you know what? He actually it's a weird one with that one. I think he was lucky that he didn't, but he actually does win the ball first, and then he follows through. You could argue with all the rain and the wet that you've got to take that into account, but he did get lucky. He did get lucky as well with that second yellow. There's no doubt. But when you go in chronological order, Bruno should have been sent off first. So it's still Arsenal should have been playing for about 60 minutes against 10 men. But yeah,
the thing is, like, the thing that annoys me about the whole discourse about referees is, look, I don't understand. As football fans, we all feel victimized a little bit, and we always feel like referees don't like Arsenal, don't like Liverpool, don't like Man United. But the referees, they genuinely, you've got to take it on good faith that they're making the best decisions in those moments. You can call them incompetent, you can call them stupid, but I don't think it's fair, and there's absolutely no proof that there's any kind of corruption going on.
Do you know what? Yeah, there is no proof of corruption. We're talking about this with the Man United game earlier on today. Our goal technically was offside today, but you could find technical reasons as to why it wasn't as well. And the fact that VAR, to the commentators, called it a subjective offside, it just I tweeted, and some people try to get technical with me. I'm just laughing because I've never heard offside officially called subjective before. It made me laugh, right? But I do think there's certain teams, and Arsenal are one of them, and Man United are, and maybe some people feel this about their team. When Liverpool got done by VAR, the football world, a lot of fans that don't support Liverpool, the TV companies and media were all on your side backing you. I feel when Man United get these decisions go against us, and I feel when Arsenal get these decisions go against them, it's almost celebrated. So I think what this does, it creates a subconscious bias for the referees where if I give a decision that helps Arsenal, I'm getting cooked. If I do something that helps their opponent, I'm kind of left alone. Because no one ever calls it. Have you ever seen any of Man United's controversy spoken about backing them? Even when Arsenal had a goal they conceded against Brentford last year, they didn't draw the lines. It weren't on Good Morning Britain. It wasn't being discussed by prime ministers and presidents all around the world. It happened to Liverpool. And honest to God, I thought we were going to have a national holiday because of it. And I like the fact that it got a lot of attention, but you've got to have that much attention for everything. We're going to move on to more super chats, though, just because of interest of time, guys. Sorry. Arsenal got out of Jow against Spurs, Chelsea, and United. Deflected goal against City. Drew against Fulham. Today, the luck ran out. You agree with that, Jason?
Absolutely, man. Today, like we've been playing shit all season. Like every time, like, oh, you guys say control performance, but we kind of got away with it. Like Chelsea, we were poor. Today, I wouldn't say we were poor. I felt like we were just bang average. Like we didn't deserve to win. We didn't deserve to lose. But it's just that, boy, that VAR decision, man, just kind of like blew my mind.
But Jason, isn't it? Don't you think that this game today is like a theme? It's like a theme of your season so far in terms of how you've been playing overall.
Bro, it's like we can't create any chances. That's the thing. The attackers are the problem. Like, honestly, Saka regressed from last season. Martinelli regressed from last season. Eddie Nketiah is just shit, man. I can't lie. I can't say it. He just digressed. I don't think he will start within the top 10 Premier League teams in this country. I mean, I don't understand why he's basically overhyped. And Arteta out. That's what I'm saying.
There we go. Wow.
Just tell, before you move on, that previous super chat that you just brought up on the screen about Havertz, would you, if he was free, would you still, talk? Even if he was free, I still wouldn't want him at Arsenal.
100%.
Yeah, no,
that's how shit he is.
He's not performing for a £65 million player, but he's not performing to a standard of free transfer either.
Real Madrid literally walked away. They said they ain't going to pay no 45 million euros. So that's about 40 million pounds. They walked away, bro. And they gave us 65 million pounds.
Mate, Babacar here says, Don is spot on here. Eddie is the easy target, but Martinelli and Saka might as well stay at home in this game. They did absolutely nothing. Ike here says, Don came in to cash in. He's Saka. Hey, go worry about your Spursy manager. Lol. Havertz was top 3 for us today. The agenda against him is
relax.
Big claim there. Don, remember Chelsea are 12 points behind Arsenal. Today we got robbed by a ref. Turn your hate down. I think he means this is the Premier League. Any team can lose. What Pete says.
Pete, let me tell you something. Chelsea can be in League 2, and I'll still come on here and talk my shit.
And Chelsea didn't play in Newcastle versus Arsenal.
Yeah, like what we're talking about here.
Why is no one mentioning the fact that Saka was being tripled up on the whole game? Some of you are overreacting. Even Kai had a good game. Interesting take.
This is excuse, man. This is excuse.
My winger. Do you know what challenge to this excuse would be? I think he does get doubled up on. However, that means other players are free. If you have 3 players on Saka, that means there should be an abundance of space for other people. What I actually saw happen today was Eddie Nketiah was toothless, and it meant they could double up on both your wingers, which is where your creativity and goals comes from. So then, and because there was no Odegaard in the middle, it was Kai Havertz. That's probably why it looked like he had a better game than normal, because they let him relatively just be free because they didn't see him as a threat. And that's the way it looked to me. Why isn't I've already done that one there? Thank you. Arsenal lead the league in goals from substitutes. Substitutes aren't a problem. People stick with narratives, ignore inconvenient facts for eye tests. Egal just face reality. Arsenal are not as good as last year. This result has been coming. They are winning nothing this year, like most years. Prince here says Don is one of the broken clock strikes twice a day, man. Bro was waiting for us to lose one game versus a strong Newcastle team to say, I told you, I see you, Don.
Bro, I'm literally on the top 6 weekly, right? And Terry started bringing up stats when I criticized Saka, right? And when I've criticized your team that you haven't been convincing, you guys just always come back with results.
Stats because you said he hasn't been creating and scoring enough, and I just wanted to see.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Wasn't there a debate where you were saying no? When I brought up stats, I can't. No, that was the Martinelli. That was Martinelli and Mihajlo Mudryk.
I said Mudryk's been better than Martinelli this season. That's what I said.
Yeah, you said he's created more, and we just checked who's created the most, and Martinelli had. That's when we did it, I thought. But yeah, listen, I still think Saka's a great player, but he ain't playing well right now. At 60th minute, Bruno charged and pushed Jorginho in the back. Nothing's being said about that. Thank you. Arteta has been making the same mistakes for 4 years. He's thrown away 16 trophies, and only maybe 5 of his 29 signings have been a hit. I'm asking questions, is what Ellie says here. Big statement there by Ellie. Thank you. The arrogance and insecurity of Arsenal fans thinking away at a top 6 side is easy business. Week to week, wet toast fans. Rice is unbelievable. I will say this. I want to throw it to Steve. I mean, Jay's gone now, but he was talking on the top 6 show Thursday like they were going to. He said his words were to the effect of, we are going to go and smoke Newcastle up there.
Terry, run the clip, please. Run that clip.
I didn't get it ready, but yeah, I'll have to find it. But he basically said they were going to smoke you. You guys were still very good, very strong today, would you say, Steve?
Yeah, man. I thought the subs changed the game. Not in like the sense that, oh wow, we were playing brilliant football and we were creating chance after chance after chance. We did it. Callum Wilson had a chance in the first half that kind of I think he should be doing better with, but he kicked kind of upward instead of down, which is always about how you want to properly hit a volley. Other than that, I can't really think of any big chance we created or had. Same with Arsenal. I thought this was a game where we were like, okay, man for man, they probably have more talent than us. So I thought like, okay, why don't we make this a physical game of football? Right? Let's drag it down. Let's make it. And I thought we just outfought them, and they were getting frustrated. And then I thought the sub was excellent around the 60th minute. Joe Willett came on. And something I noticed about Gabriel and Saliba, they're very good when they have a focal point striker, when they're coming up against someone that they can kind of focus in on centrally. When Willett came on, it's hard to track. Oh, is he dropping back? So it's like you're kind of dragging him around. And I thought Livramento, again, I think this is a crucial week in terms of Livramento establishing himself as not just the guy that starts the Carabao Cup games. This is a guy we need to regularly use and rotate for Trippier, Burn, whoever, because this guy is showing small sample size. He's played Man City in the Cup at home. Good performance. Played, Man United away, good performance again. And today, 45 minutes, very, good performance again. I think it's a crucial week in his, like he's saying, he when he's coming on, he is making, making a case. So I'm very happy. We got away with murder. That's fine. Yes.
So, I wanted to ask you, you guys were good. Do you think Arsenal were hard done by in terms of the goal?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought, yeah, of course. I mean, but it happens in this league. The Premier League don't care. I saw someone in a super chat. I'm not going to watch the Premier League anymore. Do you really believe yourself? We say it in the heat of the moment when we're angry. I was angry that Havertz didn't get sent off, and I thought about it, and I'm like, I can kind of get it. But yeah, the refs in this league are terrible, and they don't care. They still get the money. Someone said that loses credibility. Guess what the Premier League don't lose? Money. Your viewership. That's what it is. So why do
No,
they?
mate, I think you're spot on about mate. That mate, I do. And on Livramento, he's ex-Chelsea, right?
Yep.
Listen,
Chelsea.
I mean, listen. If those hamstrings of Reece James keep going, maybe it was a mistake. I mean, he looks so good.
Terry,
He
both
really
their fullbacks are Chelsea Cobham boys.
Oh yeah, Hall as well.
Hall as
I
well.
mean, that's how you know that how well run Newcastle are now. They've got Dan Burn that's been playing there and been brilliant. Obviously, he's getting on a bit. Trippier's been brilliant, but he's getting on. They've now got Livramento and Hall that they can develop and slowly start integrating in ready-made replacements. I'm jealous when I look at it I look at Man United and it's like, we do not plan like that anymore. They are moving just like City do. Why? They've got great people running the football club, great football minds at the club, and they're all pulling in the same direction. They're going to start winning major trophies soon.
My main worry about Livramento, this is why I love Livramento. He's a talented player.
I remember
he just had two ACL. He had two ACL injuries, last season. So we have to hope that he stays fit. Obviously,
but before that, he was balling at Southampton. Before he left us, he was really good. He was Academy of the Year. Sorry, in 21-22.
Bro, he was Player of the Year. I think the season after as well. So yeah,
he looks very good, man. This super chat here says Arsenal are one-dimensional. They can't mix it up. Even City get more direct at times. Do you agree with that, Jace and Brandon? You're a bit too Arsenal, a little bit too one-dimensional at the moment.
100%, man. It's just the same thing. Yeah, week in, week out. There's no it's so bland in the midfield, sideways, backwards. No one's actually coming in forward, man. It's just so frustrating to watch. And adding Havertz and Jorginho into the midfield, into the starting 11, just makes it even worse.
Interesting stat. Man United have been awful this year. We're only 6 points behind Arsenal.
I got one stat as well. Eddie Nketiah hasn't scored away from home in 19 matches.
Jesus.
Crazy.
Alberto here says the PGMOL are atrocious. Howard Webb needs to be relieved from his duties. By the way, I actually think VAR has got worse since he came in. I didn't mind it up until he came in, and it's just the way too many mistakes from these Premier League refs. I think it's even beyond the mistakes, Alberto. It's the lack of consistency. And I do care that BN Sports graphics says it looks in, but they didn't give it, and their official word was because it wasn't conclusive that it went out. If you looked at the 3 different camera angles of the United goal that was ruled out, one looked borderline, one looked out, one looked really in. So that means it ain't conclusive either, but you gave it. It's that lack of consistency around these decisions. I think if, for instance, they disallowed Man United and they disallowed all those tight ones, at least then, if you disagree with it, you know it's consistent within that. Like the push today, I guarantee you there'll be a game in the next week where there'll be a little nudge from a striker in a back. They'll score a goal and it'll be ruled out. And then you sit there and go, hang on a minute. How come 1 week it's a foul and 1 week it isn't? Sorry, Brandon, go on.
Here's how I feel about VAR, Tel. Either bring in the best technology, which the Premier League should have, being the biggest league.
But here's the thing they don't need.
Or scrap it. And we just go back to the good old days where referees had to do their jobs, make the decisions and all that. Because at the end of the day, this was brought in to stop all the controversies.
I hear you,
and that's more controversies than it ever has.
We don't talk about it because we don't cover Wolves. We cover the top, like the traditional top 6 teams, and Newcastle now inside that as well. But 2 weeks running, Wolves have considered a penalty for their opponents kicking the ground. Now, for me, this whole clear and obvious thing is crazy. I need to know what they're saying, because for me, that is what VAR was brought in to stop. Because in real time, I can understand that being given because it looks like it might have been a foul. You look at it on VAR. I was watching Soccer Saturday. I don't really get to watch it a lot because normally I'm covering a game. And then the lady that was commentating on it just sort of went, oh, they've been given a penalty. And then she looked at the replay and she's like, yeah, no, it's not a penalty. Oh, he didn't even touch him. That'll get overruled. They went to Mike Dean. And even though he ain't a referee anymore, the way he protected it, they went, oh, Mike, you've seen the replay as well now. Do you think it will be given? And he said, oh, they'll definitely look at that maybe. He didn't want to say, no, that's not a penalty, because he knows if he says, no, that's not a pen, he knew they weren't going to overturn it. The way they defend them. And this is what will happen. When they're asked to give an explanation, so what's the difference between X and Y? And they just go, well, I just don't think they're the same. They don't actually explain the differences in these things. It's horrendous.
The best one, Tel, was when Paul Merson was talking to Mike Dean on Sky Sports, and he said, "Oh, well, you don't know the rules. Well, you know the rules, and you're not abiding to them."
And this is what's crazy. I understood why they couldn't bring Liverpool's game back because of the protocol, but that's one of those things where if you break the protocol, no one's going to blame you because you're doing it for the greater good. I think if they restopped the game and they'd have gone up to Jurgen Klopp and Ange and said, look, somebody said the wrong thing. We made a mistake. It was a goal. I think Ange would have been annoyed, but would have accepted it because it's the facts. They could have done it, but they're so weird.
But I think Postecoglou said after the game that if that would have happened, he actually wouldn't have. He wouldn't have gone with the decision. And the problem is, if for example, they did try and run it back, and they gave Liverpool the goal, then Tottenham, because it's against the law, the laws of the game, obviously, they've got a legitimate cause for them to call for a replay because the referee has stepped out of line in terms of what is actually in the law of the game.
Yeah, and I do get that.
They would get.
So I get that they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. I do understand that. That's a really good point. I don't understand the rules anymore. Is there any point of carrying on, or should I find a new hobby? Definitely stay, Peter. Definitely stay, brother. Havertz was very good on the left-hand side. Vieira wasn't impactful. Saka and Nketiah were absent. We needed to bring Odegaard instead of
Terry,
Odegaard.
I got a question. Have the standards dropped for this guy? I mean, I'm seriously contemplating why these lot are saying that he's had a good game. I don't see it. I really don't see it. I know he's been crap for the last 10 or 15 games, but that don't mean you just lower the levels for this guy to be actually semi-decent.
This is the standard now, club. This is the standard now. If Kai Havertz makes a 5-yard pass, everybody stands up and claps. Well done. That's worth the 60.
Yeah, I think Kai Havertz is getting, when a player's hated, every little mistake they make is over-exaggerated. I think he's getting that from some Arsenal fans. Everything he does is being blown up into being amazing.
But do you know why? Do you know why that is, though, Tel?
I'm not exaggerating.
Arsenal fans are the ones that have put themselves on that step of saying Mikel Arteta, all you people that say Mikel Arteta out are frauds, you negative, you this, that, and the other. They're so desperate for this signing to work out that they can't say anything bad about Kai Havertz.
No, I respect AFTV a lot. I like all the people that are on there. But when I saw Julian talk about you're out of possession for 93% of games, so we should focus more on that than what you do with the ball. It's one of those things where what he's done is, because he's an intelligent man, he is an intelligent person, to think, he sort of looked at it and I'm going to word it in a way where he's making sense. But in reality, because you are out of possession more often than not, so you could argue what you do out of possession is more important. But it's when you start to look at it from a football lens, you're going, but that doesn't make sense. That's almost like saying someone that's good at keeping their shape is a better footballer than Zidane, because Zidane only does his great stuff 7% of the time versus 93%, but it just doesn't make sense in reality. But those kind of excuses are crazy. Ignoring the VAR decisions, we were poor attacking wise, no real threat on goal. I think most Gooners would agree with you there, Cheesy. Haaland also got robbed, not winning the Ballon d'Or in the week. Keep on crying, Arsenal fans. Happens to the best of us. Big up, Terry, my bro. Thank you, Franz. I appreciate that. Listen, I don't always agree with Egal, but come on, Brandon and Jermaine. Havertz applied from his tackles. He was decent today. He wasn't our worst player.
Oh, well done.
He wasn't the worst player. That's true.
Well done.
Arteta needs to be more flexible. Arsenal struggle to move the ball vertically through the midfield. Learn from Zabi at Bayern Leverkusen, Xhaka, and
Palacios.
There's a player we could do with right now.
Ronaldo as well.
Yeah, our attack needs a false nine to drop back and receive the ball. And Nketiah doesn't do that. We need a striker similar to. That's why Ivan Toney's perfect. He can drop deep and hold the ball like Jesus does, but he can also score goals. He's needed. And I know you guys are close to FFP, but you guys have got to raise. Remember, your owners can invest £100 million of their own money. That will fix the whole problem. So everyone that says we're up to FFP limit, Your owners can put £100 million into your club today because they haven't put any in for a long time, and you can put £100 million every 3 years into your club for transfers. You can also put additional money in for wages. So you could probably put £150 to £200 million cash direct in. So the FFP excuse is your own. Again, your owners have done a good job recently for you, but there's always a way. There's always a way. So don't ignore that, Arsenal fans. Havertz's average has been really shit. If he plays above average, he's still shit. Stop giving him props for doing the bare minimum. Also, Fook, PGMOL. Why is everyone speaking about a 9 when we're not creating chances? We don't have an 8. There's no midfield balance. An 8 has to be the priority. Can get both? I think you go get both. To be honest with you,
Terry, let me put a solution out there, right? Because there might be a solution, and I don't know why this hasn't been tried by Arteta. Zinchenko, why can't Zinchenko play in the 8? He spends most of his time in midfield anyway. You put Tomiyasu at left back because he's more defensive, and then you have Zinchenko doing the role of playing 8. Like, why ain't that an option? I don't get it.
The whole point as well. The whole point of Kai Havertz was that he was meant to come in and play in that position. But the thing is, he's not an 8. He's never been an 8. But the mental gymnastics from Arsenal fans from the start of the season was he can play there. He played there for Bayer Leverkusen. Arteta will bring out the best qualities in him, and he will show everyone what he's all about. Now it's not working. Everyone's starting to say, "Oh, we really need an 8." When literally every rival fan said, "You haven't bought an 8. You bought another." Not even another Odegaard. You bought another player that plays in Odegaard's position. So where's the balance going to come from? So,
I think the fair challenge is here. Why is everybody? I've already done that one. What phase of the process are Newcastle in?
Vibes winning.
Della Spurs here. It says, and then there was one. Was a great game for a neutral. I agree. Actually, I enjoyed it as a football match. I keep saying Nketiah did not deserve the number 14. That probably is the biggest. I'm someone that loves certain numbers at my club. You've got to be a certain type of player, like Mount getting number 7. I've got no hate towards Mount, but that number is iconic. He doesn't deserve. I think you have to earn the number 7 at Man United as opposed to being given it. That's just me. How was Wilson tonight? 17 touches, second top scorer in the comp. No striker on the pitch, had influence. I think what Steve said was bang on because we saw it against Chelsea. Gabriel and Saliba, I think, can pocket the best strikers in the world, number 9s. They find it harder when people are dropping off, but that's because it's pulling them out of position. So, yeah, Wilson had a very average night by his standards, but that's because he was up against Saliba and Gabriel. How do I get on the panel? Reach out to KJ, and KJ, I put you into the group chat. Souls is right because you shouldn't have to wait for things to get really bad before you pull the plug. Souls shows foresight based on repeating issues. Arteta is not learning, and it will cost you. It's a fair point being made there. It's logical.
The one thing I want to quickly say.
So I just want to try and get through a few more of these, just in the interest of time, my friend. Don Rest, suffering from main character syndrome. You're talking too much for a guy who supports the team in 12th position. Let's speak. Let others speak. Is what's been said here by Aya. Arsenal's performance is irrelevant. The refs robbed Arsenal today. Also, Dunk's goal disallowed because they drew lines on the wrong player. Wow, I didn't know that happened. I haven't even seen that. This is the issue with all of this. Like, there's Man United's today, which some people say was definitely offside. But what doesn't make sense is he threw a little foot out, and they said that was him trying to deliberately play the ball. The defender also did it. And the law states that if a defender makes a deliberate attempt to play the ball, an offside player is therefore then onside, even if he's in an onside position. So if a flick of the foot from Maguire is a deliberate play for the ball, if a defender does the identical flick, the way I've read the law is it cancels it out. But that's what I mean. It doesn't make sense. That's why just stick offside to be like how it used to be. You're just offside if you're offside. Like, this stuff's crazy. It's just that they're making it complicated. Eddie is shit, no doubt about it, but we cannot deny that VAR was a disgrace today. Let's not forget Odegaard is out because of Arteta's decisions versus West Ham. Thank you for the super chat. Indigo says, stop all the nonsense about VAR. We were awful. No creativity whatsoever. Very disappointing result. Long way left to go, but this feels like a big L.
For people that are blaming VAR or VAR, we was robbed in the sense that the goal probably shouldn't have stood. There was still half an hour of that game to play.
Yep.
It's not like it was a 95th minute thing. Like there was still half an hour for us to do something in that game. We did nothing.
Yeah, and that's what I would say to the super chat is we've been on an hour and 20 minutes now, and yes, I did a whole big monologue in the first 10 minutes about VAR because it's something that's very close to. It's not because it's Arsenal. If it was the other way around, I'd have done the same monologue for Newcastle. But we've spent a lot of the show talking about Arsenal's issues and problems and players as well. So that if you watch the whole show back, there's a real balance between the two things. But I don't think just because Arsenal weren't great, we should ignore poor decisions, because that's exactly what VAR, the refs, and the Premier League want, and we shouldn't do that for them. Newcastle played like a less talented team. The referee empowered their embarrassing play, so they came off with a win, onwards and upwards.
I'm not embarrassed at all. Our team played like a bunch of soldiers. The quality on the ball was not the most amazing. There were a few little moments, like from Bruno Guimaraes, particularly for that little dink ball over. That's one of his trademark things. The little dink ball over, and I think it bounced off someone. That was the Wilson chance I was talking about, where he kicked upward, not down. And then there's some other, like he was a menace. He is a menace to society. I can't lie. And you know what? Things I wanted to say. Number one, I'm kind of glad that Havertz didn't get sent off, because remember the Liverpool game. The Liverpool game. That could have easily happened again today. Yeah. I know it's a different team.
And it was interesting. That's why I think with Arsenal, as a neutral to a degree watching, yes, they weren't potent enough in the attack, but large parts of the game were solid, because when Liverpool went up there, it was so weird. When you watch that game back, how Liverpool won is crazy, because for large parts of that game, Newcastle were tearing through Liverpool like a hot knife through butter. But they couldn't do that versus Arsenal. So there's some really good parts of Arsenal's play. But equally, Newcastle were very good defensively as well. And it's one of those things, I'm sure that Newcastle fans tonight are not sitting there going, Saka and Martinelli are crap. They're sitting there going, my fullback stopped those brilliant players, as opposed to my guys are rubbish. So I think as a neutral, where I don't really have a dog in the fight, I felt it was two top-class defensive performances from both teams, really. And I wouldn't want to watch games like that every match. But I do love those kind of games when it doesn't involve my team. I love watching it. It's like a chess match. Really, yeah, I like them personally.
Physicality for me stood out. The physicality really stood out. And again, like
especially
I said earlier, as the game went on, and we were still at that physical, like we were bruising them. They didn't have. I thought personally they just wore down a little bit. And that goal for me, I'm wearing itchy and scratchy socks, bro. That's what our goal was. It was itchy, scratchy, dirty. We just got it in the net.
But do you think that's after the slide tackle from Kai Havertz, when everyone all the Newcastle players kind of turned up like physical? I think they were just onto it. I think the physical came from Newcastle
and I don't necessarily think Newcastle out-muscled Arsenal, but if they tried to play talent versus talent, they would have lost. And Newcastle got that mix right. Yeah, it was really good.
They stood up to them. It wasn't like they were overly aggressive, but they were saying, if you want to come and you want to take the 3 points and we're at home, then you're gonna have to beat us. They're not just gonna fall over. And like Newcastle are a solid team, and I think people are realizing it. This was always going to be a tough game. It wasn't a pretty game, but pretty games aren't always the best games to watch either. Like there needs to be tension. If one team wins 6-0, yeah, it's okay. It's great for the team that won 6-0. But if you're neutral watching, you want tension. You want there to be
I agree. It's great. I love it. Would you rather England win the World Cup or United win the Prem? United win the Prem. It's a very easy question for me. I love watching England play, but when it comes to football, I'm club over country always.
I'd rather England win the World Cup.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. People compare Havertz to Xhaka. That's the issue. When he tried to sell Partey to fund a centre midfield, fans complained. Now you see, Havertz was bought for rotation, Champions League and City. We need a left central midfielder to give us fluidity. Cheers, mate. Maybe they should add a challenge like the NFL and NBA. Maybe Newcastle playing. But when you say add the challenge, it's once they made their minds, you challenge it and they go, no, we've reviewed it. We need to be able to hear them and what they're saying so we understand. Newcastle's playing style is the reason why top-class European players avoid the Premier League back in the 80s and 90s. It's football mixed with rugby. You got to do it sometimes, though. You got to do it sometimes. And Newcastle can play beautiful football as well. We've seen it. They've got great versatility to their play. Look, I want to thank all of my panel tonight. I want to thank everyone who's hit the like button so far. All of the super chatters. You are absolutely amazing. What you donate and how you keep the football terrace going every day, every week, every month, every year is humbling. More content over the weekend coming for you. Please make sure like buttons are smashed. Please make sure you're subscribing and you have the bell notifications turned on as well. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. Congratulations to Newcastle on a very, very big win for them. See you all again soon.